Oh, hey. You know, a couple of months ago, I broke down and bought myself a new toy, an air fryer. And I have to say that I've been having so much fun doing research and testing recipes for this air fryer. It has really opened up a whole new world of cooking to me. But one of the things that I noticed when I was doing my research is every time that I would watch a video of someone cooking a steak in an air fryer, I noticed it really wasn't turning out, how should I say, quite right, quite how I was used to. So I set myself to the drawing board to come up with a way to cook a beautiful air fryer steak. And I really think that I came up with a good method. I'm gonna be showing you a full steak dinner today, complete with 2 sides, and the steaks themselves are going to be beautiful, delicious, juicy, brown on the outside. And guys, you know, though I would not be so bold as to boast that these are gonna be the best steaks you've ever had in your entire life, I can guarantee that they're gonna be the best steaks you've ever had out of an air fryer. And I'm gonna teach you all how to do it today on The Blue Wizard Cooks. All right, now you might have noticed that these steaks that I have over here have already been fussled with, I guess if you want to say. I actually prepared these last night, but I forgot to invite you guys a day early to see that part of the process. It's actually pretty important. So my idea of what I thought I might do to rectify this situation is I thought I'll just send you back in time and see what I did last night. Yes, send them back in time. Of course I've done this before. There's nothing to worry about. Just, you know, brace yourself. Okay? Well, here we go. Tempus mobilium mononocta. Oh, hey? Sorry, but weren't you supposed to be coming tomorrow? Wait. Did I send you back in time? Whoa, look at me whipping out the big complicated spells. So, you feeling okay? Got all your bits and everything? You haven't lost like a kidney or anything like that? No? Because, you know, not that that was a risk that any of that could have happened, of course. I wouldn't put you in danger. But anyway, you're here now. So I guess the reason I sent you back was to see how the steaks are done, right? So why don't we get that going, okay? So one of the biggest problems with cooking a steak in an air fryer is the fact that you can't really get very good browning, because one of the beautiful things about cooking a steak is when you get into that nice hot cast iron skillet or that nice hot grill, and it makes a delicious crust on the surface of your steak. And that's really hard to get in an air fryer because air fryers don't get very hot. Now that being said, I have come up with 2 different things that we're going to do to make sure that we get that delicious brown flavor on our steaks and a nice, decent crust. Still not as good as a cast iron skillet, but better than you're gonna get in any air fryer around here, okay? So the first thing that we're gonna start with is our dry rub for the steaks. So inside of this mortar and pestle, I just crushed up 1 tablespoon of black pepper and a teaspoon of whole coriander seed. And I just ground that up to a nice powder. You can buy ground versions of both of these. You can buy ground pepper, obviously, and you can buy ground coriander, so you don't need to do that yourself. So I'm gonna add to that 1 tablespoon of kosher salt. Seems like a lot, it'll be okay. I'm gonna add in a teaspoon of onion powder and a teaspoon of paprika. This is also gonna help with a little bit of browning color because paprika will naturally brown in the air fryer. And the last thing we're gonna add, just to add a little bit more of a kick, is just a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Just a little bit. And then I'm just gonna mix that up and add the first thing that's gonna make this super, super brown, and that is brown sugar. So I'm gonna add in just 1 tablespoon of firmly packed light brown sugar to the mix. And the sugar is going to help our steak to brown. because sugar always will add a nice brown color to your steaks and caramelize in the air fryer. Make a nice brown crust. It won't taste sweet though, I promise. So now let's address the steaks. So I have 2 New York strip steaks over here. You can also do this with ribeye steaks as well. I've done it. And the only thing you want to look for is at least a 1-inch thickness. I usually like to go with a 1.5-inch thickness, but 1 inch is fine, and that's what I have here. That's what I was able to find at the grocery store today. All right, and the one thing that I'm going to do to make sure that we can do this at the air fryer without smoking out our entire kitchen is to go through and just trim off any of this excess fat that's around here. You still want to keep the fat that's inside of meat, all that beautiful marbling. I'm just taking off some of that extra fat cap on the edge. All right, so now that our fat is trimmed away, we can go in and sprinkle on our dry rub mixture. So I'm just gonna take sort of tablespoon amounts and sprinkle it over the tops of these steaks. And you notice we're gonna end up not using it all, okay? But we wanna try and pack on as much of it as we can onto the surface, because again, that's gonna give nice flavoring to our steaks, and that sugar is gonna make our surface nice and brown. I'm gonna pat down the sides in sort of the excess that's falling off, so we get every part of that steak nice and coated. And now the other sides. Lovely. All right, so now that our dry rub is nicely packed onto our steaks, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take and place the steaks onto a sheet pan that has a wire rack placed over the top of it. And we are going to let this sit in the refrigerator open, not covered, overnight. You wanna let this sit in the refrigerator open for at least 8 hours, all right? Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna dry out the surface of that steak as much as possible. And being in the open air and having the salt and the sugar in there is going to allow that dryness to happen. And when we have that dry exterior, that's gonna get us even more browning, okay? So I'm just gonna take and throw those into the refrigerator. Well, now that we're done with my bit, I guess I can send you back, well, back to the future. Anyway, say hi to future me. Proper tempus personae revertum. Oh, good, you're back. Not that I was worried or anything. Anyway, moving on. Steaks. They're out of the fridge. I have them setting right over here. Getting a little bit closer to room temperature. We'll start cooking them in a little bit. But we're actually gonna get started with one of our side dishes first, because remember, this is a full steak dinner. Not just the steak, but also 2 sides along with it, all in the air fryer. So what I have here in my large bowl is I have 2 russet potatoes that I have diced up into about a 1-inch dice. And to those russet potatoes, I'm gonna give them about a tablespoon, maybe a little less, of olive oil, just enough to get them coated and get the spices to stick, a teaspoon of salt, a half of a teaspoon of dried thyme, half of a teaspoon of garlic powder, half of a teaspoon of onion powder, and a half of a teaspoon of paprika. And then all we have to do is give those a quick little toss in our bowl. Just to get the potatoes coated with that olive oil, just a little bit, and those spices. Yummy. I can already smell the spices coming off of the potatoes. It smells really good. And now we're ready to get cooking, guys, okay? Because we're gonna start our little air fryer dance, okay? Because we're gonna have to do this in stages, because remember, we're doing the whole meal in the air fryer. So the first thing we're gonna do is make sure our air fryer is set to 400 degrees, and then we're gonna go in and add our potatoes in one even sheet at the bottom of our air fryer. Want to make sure they're laying all nicely in there. Beautiful. And so now we're going to close the air fryer and we're going to cook these for 10 minutes. Now, this is not enough to get the potatoes cooked all the way. We're just going to give them a little bit of a head start over some of our other ingredients. Oh, there's our potatoes done. Let's take a look. Yum. You can see they've already started to brown there inside of the air fryer. Now remember, these are not quite 100% done yet, okay? So we're just gonna set them off to the side while we do some of the other things into this little bowl. Well, you can hear they're already getting crispy. Yum. All right, so now it's time for us to address our steaks in the air fryer. So I'm just gonna take the steaks and I'm gonna place them into the air fryer right next to each other. And for steaks that are this thin, they're about 1 inch thick, I'm going to put them in for about 8 minutes and flip them halfway through. If you had a 1.5 inch steak, you might want to do at least a minimum of 10 minutes. And then we'll check their temperature and see where they're at, and maybe we'll put them in for a little bit longer, all right? But we're gonna go in for at least 8 minutes. So close that up and get rocking and rolling. Perfect. So now, while those steaks are cooking in the air fryer, we are going to address our broccoli and make sure that that is ready to go by the time that the steaks come out. So we are going to add to the broccoli another tablespoon of olive oil, a half of a teaspoon of salt, this is kosher salt, half of a teaspoon of onion powder, and half of a teaspoon of freshly cracked black pepper. Now, to make this broccoli a little bit more interesting, we are going to add in a little bit of an orangey flavor. So I'm going to add in the zest of 1 orange. And I'm also going to add in the juice of that orange. I have my trusty juicer that my parents bought me for Christmas this year. Yes, that's the type of present I asked for Christmas. Don't judge. And then just like the potatoes, we'll give them a toss. Oh, and by the way, this is 12 ounces of broccoli florets. And what I did is I actually bought them pre-packaged, already cut up. You can get them in a lot of grocery stores now that they're already chopped up in the florets. But what I did is I picked through and found any of the larger ones and sort of pulled them apart so that they're all about even size. All right, I think that it's time that we go in and flip our steaks. We're about halfway through the cooking. And you can see that they're already starting to get a nice brown color. Yummy. All right, so now we're just gonna let them cook for the last 4 minutes. All right, it's been our full 8 minutes. Let's go in and check our steaks. Ooh, they look nice and brown. Let me check the temperature. Oh, perfect. They've hit that 120 degrees that I've been looking for. So I'm gonna take them and remove them out to a board to let them rest. Now, while the steaks are resting, we are gonna finish cooking the rest of our meal. And by the way, guys, I haven't changed the temp on this air fryer. I've kept it the same the entire time. 400 for the potatoes, 400 for the steaks, and now 400 to finish everything off. So the way that I'm gonna do this is now that we've got our potatoes nice and crispy, I'm gonna take and place them on 1/2 of the air fryer basket. And on the other half of the air fryer basket, I'm going to place our broccoli. And stacking it like this will make the broccoli get a nice roasted flavor, but it's not gonna get crispy and too brown. All right, and in it goes. And here we're going in for 10 minutes again. Oh, that sound means that our sides are done. Let's take a look. Oh man, look at that beautiful green color on the broccoli, and the potatoes look nice and crispy, delicious. But before I start serving those up, let's take a look at our steaks. All right, so now I'm gonna take and cut into one. Oh yeah, there we go. A beautiful medium steak. Now, if this steak were purely for my entertainment, then I would want this steak to be rare. And so I might cook mine for, 6, 7 minutes rather than 8 minutes. But I know that most people are somewhere around the medium range with their steaks, and so I'm giving you the time for medium range, okay? But like I said, if you're like me and you like a nice rare steak, maybe go for 6 minutes. If you like your steak more well done, go for 10 minutes. And again, if you're using a thicker steak, you'll have to do a little bit more time. But notice the beautiful brown color that we're getting on these steaks as well. All right, now we're gonna take and serve up our sides. So I'm gonna take half of the potatoes, and then of course half of the broccoli. And as you guys can see, this doesn't just feed 2 people, this will feed 2 hungry people. Yummy. Look at that beautiful plate. And again, amazing that we were able to do it all inside of our air fryer. And in not that much time, guys. What did this whole thing take? You know, maybe 30, 35 minutes to whip together. Definitely would be perfect for a date night meal for those of you out there that are trying to catch you a man, woman, whoever you're looking for. All right, this meal would be perfect for that. Now let's go in and have a taste. Let's try the steak first. Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all, I can't even. Oh. Guys, that steak is out of control. It's moist, it's juicy. It has excellent flavor from all of those seasonings that we put on yesterday. It has a nice, delicious, crispy exterior. It has that delicious brown flavor that you want in a steak. It really, really is phenomenal. I love it. Oh, fantastic. Let's go in for our potatoes. Perfectly cooked, perfectly seasoned, nice and crispy, fantastic. And our broccoli, y'all, this meal is a winner. Truly and actually, there is no question in my mind that it does not matter who you are making this for, they are going to find that this is an outstanding meal. And you are sure to impress anyone who you make it for, even if you're just making it for yourself. Well, guys, I truly hope that you enjoyed this episode of The Blue Wizard Cooks. If you did like this recipe and you want to see me make more air fryer recipes, make sure to let me know by slapping the like button down below. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the little bell for notifications, so this way you'll be notified every time that I post a new video. And why not go ahead and share the video with a friend as well, so that everyone can get in on the fun. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure to leave me a comment down below, and I'll be more than happy to answer it. I usually am pretty good about answering everybody's comments. If you'd like to see more of what I'm doing outside of my YouTube channel, make sure to go and follow me on both Instagram and Facebook at Joe the Blue Wiz. And lastly, guys, if you want this recipe or any of my other recipes, make sure you head to my website, bluewizardfood.com, or get the link in the description below. Well, guys, that's all that I have time for here today on The Blue Wizard Cooks. Remember, you don't have to be a professional chef in order to make magic in your kitchen. I'm gonna go finish this. Peace out.